The world has been sundered. It cries out in pain. We must go to its aid. We entrust our ancestral home to you, the Watchers. Let the land slumber, hidden even from our own eyes. You will feel our return in the waking of the land. Then, you must light the beacon of Tearhold, lest the path home be lost to us forever. Is healing. But her fate is yet uncertain. Together, we shall be Azeroth's protectors once again. Here, the new age of dragons shall begin.
Hey guys, welcome back. My bad for the delay on this. Shortly before the reveal happened, my computer crashed on me, so I actually watched the reveal on my PlayStation over on YouTube. So this is the reveal and my thoughts and everything. I will start by saying that I've been skeptical of this expansion, so I had no hype whatsoever leading up to the reveal. I didn't care when the reveal happened. I had absolutely no hype, and that's not a first, unfortunately. Shadowlands I had no hype for either. That just comes from, Blizzard putting out bad expansions, in my personal opinion, since the end of Legion. I haven't really liked anything since then. Of course, I keep playing and all that. So let's start with the cinematic. Cinematic was okay. I can't say it was awesome. I really didn't have hype for the cinematic until I saw the dragons come rescue him, and yeah. So it was mediocre. Like, they always do good on cinematics, but overall, I can't say the cinematic was like, ooh, I gotta play this right now. Now, as far as the dragons, I am one of the biggest reasons I was skeptical for this expansion is because until BFA and Shadowlands released, Cataclysm was my most hated expansion. And I never thought that would be the case because I love the dragon theme and all that, but I think they just executed Cataclysm badly. And I hope for better with this one. But that is where, me being skeptical came in. It wasn't really that, they've done, this will be, third bad expansion if it fails, in a row. It's not that. Don't get me wrong. That is kind of like in my head somewhere. But it was more of my dislike of Cataclysm. So yeah. So I am hoping for the best for this. The dragons, I still tear up till this day. That one scene of Ysera in Legion, and yeah, I love that scene, but it upsets me too every time. Now, as far as this logo, I gotta say, it might look a little plain, but I love this logo. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's because it's so crisp, and yeah, I love it. I think they did such a great job on this logo. And, it looks like there's wings at the side, and yeah, I just love that logo, so that's cool. You can sign in to the Dragonflight beta. Okay, so next up we have the new race and class. Now, this one did not come as a shock to me. Don't get me wrong, I had no idea what it would be, but because they had skipped giving us anything, race or class for Shadowlands, I was pretty certain that we were gonna get both. Like in Legion when we got, well, I guess Legion was different because we already had Night Elves and Blood Elves, but, I guess a comparison would be maybe Mop because we got pandas and monks. Yeah. But, whatever. So this is, I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. This didn't hype me as soon as I heard it. I was looking forward to a new class and race, and I think it would be cool to play a dragon character, but I'm gonna have to see more work. So yeah, it's early stages here, but I wasn't too fond of. Actually, where is that video? There is a video. Okay, so let's watch this. This is the new class and race.
Hi, I'm Jake.
I'm Andy.
I'm Kali.
And I'm Graham, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about the Dracthyr Evoker, our new race and class coming in Dragonflight.
We're here to talk about not only the Evoker, but also Dragonriding, which is our exciting expression into the exploration of the Dragon Isles.
We knew with a
Okay, just had to pause there. Buddy in the beige shirt there, his body language and all that reminds me so much of, I can't remember his name, but he was from a zombie show I used to watch a lot. He was also in that movie, The New Guy. Yeah, he's a popular actor, but I'm like drawing a blank to his name. And this guy just like when he first started talking, like where let's go back.
And I'm really excited to talk to you guys
right
today
there,
about
right
the
there. Like, I see it so much. Okay, anyway, continuing, guys. Continuing.
Dracthyr Evoker, our new race and class coming in Dragonflight.
We're here to talk about not only the Evoker, but also Dragonriding, which is our exciting expression into the exploration of the Dragon Isles.
We knew with a dragon-themed expansion, we wanted to let you play a dragon. Not a big dragon, Alex Straza size. That'd be tough to fit into raids. I'm sorry, Jake.
Okay.
I know.
Fine.
But a draconic humanoid. So the Dracthyr, created by Neltharion.
And like our other hero classes, you get to choose if you want to start on the Horde or Alliance side on character creation.
So let's talk a little bit about the Evoker, the class they can be. What's unique about it is because the Dracthyr are created by an aspect, they have the ability to wield the magic of all 5 Dragonflights. So Evokers can take advantage of red magic and blue magic and bronze magic.
And to show that, we created a visual, what we call a prismatic effect. This prismatic effect is basically the coalescence of all their energy as they channel it into whatever spell that they're going to cast. You have a red magic spell called Pyre. So when you shoot it out of your mouth, it twirls in the air with all 5 of the Dragonflight's magic as it turns into the red spell before landing on your enemies and exploding and hopefully burning them.
I'll take that one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pause there. I like all those colors together. It does look pretty cool, a little rainbowy effect, and yeah, it does look good.
Getting that vibe across that they use all 5 was really important to us, but we did want to make sure that each specialization focused on 2, because casting 5 different colors gets a bit messy. So their damage dealer specialization, their first of 2, Devastation, mostly focuses on red and blue magic. Red being very fast and explosive, burning everything with Pyre, whereas blue is more focused and overwhelming. You can shoot a beam of energy out of your mouth to disintegrate one single enemy in front of you.
There's a healer spec called Preservation. The healer spec is going to focus mostly on your green and your bronze magic. So your green is going to be evocative of the Emerald Dream, your growth and your nurturing spells. And then you have your bronze magic, which is going to be more timey-wimey. So you get to heal a wound faster.
So in addition to the visuals and the animation, which all make you feel very powerful, we really wanted the player to have a physical connection to the cast. We have a new type of spell called Empower, where when you actually hold down the button on your keyboard, it charges up the spell. The longer you charge it up, it might do more damage or hit more targets depending on the spell, but it gives you this really physical connection and control that's new for World of Warcraft and I think is feeling really, really good.
We have some great animations. Thank you, Andy, your team.
Love it, Andy.
You feel physical when you're casting your spells.
You can actually fly around the battlefield and cast while you're flying.
Raining fire and death from above. It's great.
That
In
does look
addition
pretty
to
cool.
The gameplay, though, another part of feeling draconic is looking like a dragon.
Although, I just gotta say, what about PvP? Like, that would be some pretty crazy shit in PvP. I wonder if they have thought of that. Can you imagine you got like 5 Evokers coming at you? Like, you got no chance in hell. Yeah.
We talk about dragons breathing fire, but you know what's actually fire?
What's actually
These
fire?
customizations.
Oh my goodness.
But no, they're really, really
They're
cool.
awesome.
Because you have both your draconic form and your humanoid form. And
I gotta
the
disagree
customization
with
options
that
for
one.
Both of them are amazing.
They're very good.
What about color? Just tell me.
tell
you
us
can
about the
change
colors. You can do a lot of magic.
Let's just pause. So far, these are not looking very good. I'm amazed she made that comment. That was kind of ballsy because, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but it's early. They can improve, and they can definitely improve on these customizations.
So your Visage form can have scales that are the same color as your Dracthyr form.
But my favorite, super favorite part of customization for the Visage form, hair.
Yeah.
Because I can actually do this in game.
Yeah.
The tech is here.
We finally did it.
As players make their way through each of the areas of the Dragon Isles, they'll partner up with the Dragonflights to move through the air as they've never done before. You'll notice I did not say flying, because flight has a very specific meaning for World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
And we're talking about something new called Dragonriding.
And as the
Okay, so what I'm getting is we're not getting flying right at the beginning. We're getting dragon riding.
players are honing their dragon riding skills, they're going to get to see all new animations that go along with the different look and feel of the drakes.
I do like that
We're
spin.
aiming to shake up movement with this new system, providing players with a deeper immersion with forces like momentum and gravity.
We knew that for Dragonflight, we were going to have the opportunity to show players a whole new set of Dragon Isle drakes, completely unique from all the other things they've seen in World of Warcraft. And so we wanted to come up with a movement system that would add that sense of physics, weight, and gravity, like you were mentioning. We knew it was going to take a huge team effort, not just animation, but it was going to take effects. It was going to take the engineering team, who we rely on heavily, and that combined with some new animations really helps to lend that feeling of physics as you move through the air in ways that you haven't before. And the icing on the cake is going to be some really cool effects that we've added on top of all of that. So for example, when you start hitting, maximum velocity, you're going to see contrails coming off the edges of the wings. And then as you do your rolls and spirals, you build up more and more speed. There's going to be some screen effects on the display to indicate that you're reaching maximum velocity, which really adds to the overall kind of immersion and sense of reality.
As players make their way through the Dragon Isles, they'll discover new cosmetic options to fine-tune their Dragon Isle Drake's appearances. Things like suits,
Ew.
horns, tails, elusive Dragon Isle Drake armor.
I like those
and
horns.
spikes.
That was
Definitely.
nice.
Okay.
We want to provide players with all new skills to play with, as those who can use their momentum well can reach higher and higher heights and bring on new, more difficult challenges.
We just have
Oh,
so
sorry,
many
guys,
new,
you see the
gorgeous
bar.
options to choose from.
My
and
bad.
I'm just so excited for all of them.
I'm excited for the whole thing. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to work on, but I can't wait to actually get in the game, play it with you guys.
I can't wait. I can't wait to fly around Dragon Isles. It's
Yeah.
gonna be great.
Next up, you're going to hear about the talent revamp and the UI changes coming in Dragonflight.
I was just gonna say, well, you're gonna have to wait because this is super early. We're not gonna see this shit until probably mid-2023. I would say we don't see it any time before, I don't know, maybe April or something. April of next year. So when they did the reveal, they actually didn't have a release date to give us. And also, more or less because of that, no pre-purchase. Because rumor is that you can't actually sell a game without having a release date in mind. Keep in mind that's just rumor, not confirmed info, but I would highly believe that. Yeah, I do believe you should at least have a date before asking for money from players. So, okay, Evokers freely switch between two customization forms, choosing between human and draconic. Okay, I just got one thing to say with this one, and I'm gonna compare this to the Worgen, but I'm not really liking their forms, and I was kind of the same, like the regular forms. So I was exactly the same with Worgen. When did Worgen come out? Like Cata or something? I can't even remember. But I made a Worgen right away, and to this day, that Worgen has never been shifted into human. The only time I have seen my Worgen in human form is when I go to that one dungeon, what's it called? I can't remember. It's Caverns of Time, though. And it forces you into human form. Yeah, that is the only time I've ever seen my Worgen in human. So I probably, unless they do some major changes to the customization, I probably will never have my Evoker in that other. Yeah, I'll just keep it in dragon form. But yeah, I'm for sure gonna play this character though, because I play every new character, you know. But as far as customizations, just not a fan so far, but it is early days. Evokers seek to forge their own path in Azeroth and willingly fight for the Horde or the Alliance. Okay, so basically like a panda when you're neutral to begin with. Delve into the story of the Dracthyr in a brand new starting experience and learn how to use your new abilities before venturing forth. Evokers can fight from mid-range with claws and fury breath attacks, or draw upon the life-giving magic of renewal. Okay, this one I got some stuff to say. This tells you that it's only DPS and heals, and I gotta say, that is unfortunate. I think with a class like this, tank would have been a really good choice to add into the mix. Yeah, I think it would. I'm so sure a lot of people would have loved to tank with a character like that. I know I totally would. I would love to have that character as a tank. Damn, that black one looks so good. I was very close to being like, oh, I'm gonna be the black one. But I just really like the red one. Yeah, see, this is the shit I don't really like. Like, this just looks weird. Yeah, not too fond of this stuff. I do like her hair, though. It looks cute with the pink highlights in it. And what is up with those ones? I don't know. I do really like that you can customize your dragons. That is really cool. I love these horns. This looks pretty good too. I imagine a lot of people are gonna be all for that armor. Okay, so next up we have, you know, who will be able to wear what. So right here we have the Evoker, Priest, Warlock, and Demon Hunter. These are okay. I think they could be a little better, but I do like on the Priest there, I do like the little engravings at the bottom and, you know, the shoulders, and that looks pretty cool. So I would say all in all, I like the Priests the best out of these four. Although the Evoker does look pretty badass. Okay, so next we have Monk, Paladin, and Warrior. So for this one, I would say the Paladin looks the best. I don't know. This one, I'm not really a big fan of like yellowish. You know, I like gold, but the gold has to like really stand out for me to like it. And yeah, just not a big fan of yellow. I could see why they gave the druid one like that, but not impressed. I would say the rogues looks the best out of these three. And Death Knight, Mage, and Hunter. I think I like the Mage the best. I like the little, you know, balls at the top with the moon shape, kind of, yeah. Spoken like a true druid, right? Give us something that looks like a moon and I'll fucking love it. They're okay. You know, not bad for a starter reveal, I guess, for those. Okay, so this was from Jeremy Fiesel. He says, Dragon riding is very fast and fluid. It's arcadey. You press the spacebar and you do a giant takeoff. And then the whole mini game is that you've got height and speed. And you have to try to figure out how to get as far as possible before you land again. And it should feel like you're swooping and diving through these landscapes with giant zones. The two ended up working really well together. Okay. You're gonna move really fast when you're dragon riding, much faster than existing mount speeds. Taking off there should be a giant gust of wind and a big flap of your wings. Our environment team is doing a great job incorporating things like more cloud layers so that you can fly through clouds and get that feeling of moving really fast. And then as soon as you start to speed up and go faster and faster, you'll see particles fly off your wings, and eventually that turns into contrails. A big push was to make the experience of moving around the world feel more three-dimensional. The idea of conservation of momentum, of caring about when you stop, because you don't want to stop, you want to keep going fast. How do I get from A to B as fast as possible? Finding those different spires to jump off of becomes an interesting thing to look for as you're traversing through the world. Now, one thing I thought was interesting with this is the part where he's talking about cloud layers. That reminds me so much of Panda. What town was that? You trained your serpents there, and you would go through the clouds, and yeah, and I really loved that part. I think that ended up being a daily, if I remember right. And I loved doing that. That was so fun. I guess it could be similar to, they did kind of copy it in Shadowlands. Out in Bastion, there's a quest where you are going through clouds as well. So yeah, it's definitely been done before. I like that though. Okay, so this right here is going to be our new color. So we're going to be a teal for the Evoker, which gets pretty damn close to the monk. But, you know, it's interesting because I think the more important thing to look at here is all the frames, how it'll look alongside the other classes. Because unless my eyes are going wonky, which I doubt, I have excellent eyesight, but that box above looks a lot lighter than the Evoker color that you see next to the other classes. So don't go by that box. That box looks a lot more closer to monk. We're definitely running out colors, because now we basically have 3 greens, you know, hunter, evoker, monk. What else could they have done, right? You can't use black or gray because that's too close to an offline status. And then basically all the other colors have been taken. And I think they learned their lesson with, like, you know, colors like black, because even white, I've never really liked the white on the priests as far as raid frames. I think the words blend in, right? There's white lettering on a white background, and yeah. I've never really liked that. So I'm glad they didn't really go with something light like the priest's color. So the players will have 2 trees available to them. There's going to be the class tree, and then there's the spec tree. The squares on the tree are the active abilities. The circles are the passive abilities. And then hexagons is kind of like your choice. You just choose an ability. Some of the class tree abilities are already going to be activated when you start your character, but you will be given like 1 class tree talent point to spend so you can start customizing right away. There is a loadout for it, so you can change your talents as often as you're able to, and you'll be able to save and load different talent tree specs based on what you're doing in the game. I really like that because Mage Tower, right? It's like I hate doing the Mage Tower because I don't want to swap all my specs around and then have to like put them back later. And yeah, I know, simple task, but I hate doing it. I hate doing it. Yeah. And I'm sure there's an add-on for that, but you know, I do like that this is just kind of built right in, and yeah. The Renown returning for WoW Dragonflight. Can't say I was super impressed when I heard about this one. Renown isn't horrible in Shadowlands, but, you know, there was a lot of time gating with it. Yeah, so if anything, this is kind of like them saying time gating heavily returning for WoW Dragonflight. So let's read what he said. Looking back extends to recent history too, taking elements from an expansion like Shadowlands and reimagining them for the return to Azeroth. You're going to be seeing an enhancement to the Renown system that we used in Covenants, which we think is a really cool way to set up a reputation in a way that feels fresh for World of Warcraft. Our 4 main reputations each have their own different set of renown levels, and that lets us reward you often. It lets us show you what you're getting during the course of unlocking various different things, whether that's cool cosmetics associated with those reputations, or getting additional quest lines associated with them, or additional gameplay. We wanted to go really deep with all those different aspects. The new version of Daily Quest is going to be transferring over to a very activity-centric system that feels like you're always making progress. And unlike Covenants, you don't have to pick one of these different reputations to gain renown. You can do all of them. We're looking at how we can incorporate alt-friendliness in the same way that we did in 9.15. So it's all a big refresh to the Door world. Okay, I got something to say about this one. For starters, Renown was one of the silliest systems I thought they put in. And, you know, can I live with it being in another? I guess, you know, it's not like it's not entering. But what I will say is I have heard a couple of times throughout the past week since they've done the reveal, you know, they're all about alt-friendly. You know, BFA was supposedly alt-friendly, and then they said Shadowlands was gonna be alt-friendly, and I don't know about you guys, but I felt like Shadowlands was one of the most alt-friendly expansions. Now, I guess that's coming from a collector point of view. You know, maybe if you just play the game and then you level and then, you know, you raid or whatever, but you don't care about mounts, toys, you know, pets, all that shit, then maybe it was an alt-friendly. But in my opinion, yeah, we haven't seen an alt-friendly expansion in a while. You know, I would say the last alt-friendly expansion was Legion, and I'm sure people probably disagree with me on that one, because Legion was heavily packed, but I put a lot of time into Legion, so I just had them, right? But yeah, I personally think that was the last true alt-friendly expansion. But it, you know, the reason some people might disagree with that one is because professions weren't really alt-friendly. You know, there was a lot of work you had to go through in Legion for professions because they were tied to quests. So, yeah. So, I'll see it when I see it because, like, that's what they're kind of getting at there, and I don't know. I don't know. As far as stuff we've seen, I think it's possible. You know, we're going back to the old world. If they keep things simple, I think it could actually be an alt-friendly expansion. But time will tell. Okay, so we're gonna have a new profession interface, and it gives you clues to like new traits you'll need to complete profession orders. So you'll be able to create crafting orders to request other players with that profession skill to create items for them. You browse through the recipes of any profession, choose what you want crafted, create an order, and then you'll have the option to add some of the reagents and a commission. There'll be an NPC that will act as an auction house for these crafting orders. You'll be able to specify whether this is a public order or for people in your guild or directly to a specific player. As a crafter, you can see what items players are asking for and decide for yourself if you want to fill that commission. I do like that you can choose your guild. Me, I totally would like do something like this for my guild members. But then again, I craft them stuff for free, so I never ask for a commission. So I don't know how that would work if you could just like give it to them for free. I don't know. That's yeah. Same with like if I'm gonna, I don't advertise my professions. I haven't done that since probably BC. Yeah. So 2006 roughly is around the last time I went into trade chat and said, hey, I'm here. Anyone need anything craft? I'm over at the auction house. Tips welcome, right? And that WoW hasn't been that kind of world in a long time. I think the kind of return of this is kind of cool. This is a way to bring that kind of back. But the way I craft now is it's typically for free, honestly. Like it's for, guild members that, have been in the guild for a while, or sometimes I'll help like newcomers to the guild get some of the gear that they need, or, my friends who need some gear. So I don't know how much I would really use this, but I do think it's cool. And, back in the day, I would use this like all the time. Yeah. So there's going to be specializations to the professions. You'll be able to craft better quality items with that. I do like this. Specializations kind of reminds me of, well, two things. Engineers. We used to live for specialization pretty much. There was also I think it was the Wrath of the Lich King expansion, where tailorers could be a specific type of tailor, like spell weave, or I do remember that. There also was for alchemists, you were a flask maker or a potion maker, and whichever one you specialized in, you procced your profession items. So I really like that they're kind of bringing specializations back. And with a little twist, it does say that you'll progress by earning specialization points, which can be earned in many different ways. Finding items, meeting NPCs, completing quests. So I think there's a lot there. The fact that there's all these different ways you can get these specialization points. Yeah, I think there's a lot going on there. Crafting tables will be in the new hub city, which is going to be a Valdrakken. And these basically serve as a gathering point to find crafters if you don't wish to use the crafting order system. Quick little video on it.
Hi, I'm Joanna.
And I'm Eric, and we're going to talk about our plans for professions in Dragonflight. Professions have been a staple of World of Warcraft forever, and they've seen lots of really cool incremental updates over their life. But for Dragonflight, we want to do something a bit different. We really want to rethink professions and figure out how to make them part of your identity as a player, if that's what you want.
We really want to make sure that professions feel fun and relevant across all levels of gameplay.
That brings us to our first update, something that we're calling crafting orders. If you want to have something crafted for you, but you don't have the skill or the right profession to do it for yourself, you can have it crafted through a crafting order. You can basically browse any of the recipes that can be crafted, pick the one you want for yourself, and then you include some or all of the reagents needed for the recipe, including ones that only you can get your hands on. You can find someone in person to do it right in front of you for you, or you can also go to an NPC and using an auction house-like interface, send the order out. If you're doing this, you can pick, do you want to send the order to anyone, sort of a public order, or do you want to only send it to your guild, or to a specific other player? Maybe it's a friend who you know will be able to craft the item really well for you.
If you are really dedicated to your craft, you're going to be the best at what you do.
One of the coolest things about this is the item you had crafted can also be soul-bound. In the past, you could only get your hands on crafted soul-bound items by having that profession yourself. Now anyone can have them crafted for them, which is really neat and really expands the number of items that we can provide that are really powerful because everyone can have them crafted through the crafting honor system.
This is also really cool because it means as a crafter, you can start building your client base. People are going to come back to you to get certain items. Maybe you're the best at making it, or you always throw in a little something extra. You're also going to be leveling up your profession. It's going to be really great.
So the first time you go to craft, you're going to notice a lot of different things, but probably the biggest is the introduction of quality, both to your crafted items and your gathered reagents. Quality works in a pretty simple way. If you craft something that's a higher quality, it's just going to be better. For a piece of gear, that probably means a higher item level. If it's, for instance, a potion, that might mean a more powerful effect at a higher quality.
And we're doing a lot of new things in the UI. We've put a lot of work into it to make sure that the professions feel really special and unique.
And another thing you might notice in the crafting UI that's new is the introduction of stats, specifically to your professions.
Okay, just gotta say, this is totally off topic, has nothing to do with professions. But I want that meeting stone rock. I need that in my house. I would totally buy that. That is the best decoration. Like, that sword in the rock is fucking awesome too. But yeah, okay. That's all I got to say. Let's continue.
Both crafting and gathering. And this is another sort of major input into quality. Probably the biggest source of your ability to craft items at a higher quality is through crafting specializations. We've had crafting specializations in the past, as far back as original World of Warcraft. With Dragonflight, you can go out and earn specialization points in a whole bunch of different ways. So maybe you find an old book on a bookshelf in a ruin somewhere, or a hermit in a cave who can teach you a little bit about your profession. So let's say you're a blacksmith. You might decide that first you want to become an armor smith. And the more points you spend in armor smithing, the better you're going to get at crafting all armor.
This also means that if you specialize one way, other people in your guild may specialize in a completely different path. So this means that your guild could have several top blacksmiths and everybody is providing something unique and valuable to the team, which is really cool.
Now that reminds me of another update. We're actually adding crafting tables to all the different crafting professions. We're going to take those and we're going to put them all in the main city of Valdrakken. And you're going to go in there and you're going to get to see all the different players crafting their items at their cool crafting tables.
Yeah, it means you're going to walk into the city and you're going to see like all these alchemists huddled over here, and you're going to see all these blacksmiths over by the forge. There will be other players filling orders or grabbing orders. It's going to be a whole new crafting area that's going to make you feel really part of the world.
It just seems like a much more lively area than it has in the past.
What I'm most excited about, though, is the gear. We're introducing new types of gear for every profession, and when you go to, say, mine a node, you're actually going to just switch into that gear. It's going to be really great.
You're not going to have to carry
that
around
is
your
so
backpack
cool.
anymore. There's actually going to be dedicated slots for
nice.
each of your pieces of gear. But
I like
I'm a
that.
numbers guy. I love progressing. All pieces of profession gear will have those special stats that we mentioned before on them. And as you get your hands on better versions of the gear, it's really going to help you get better at your profession.
I can't wait.
Thank you for tuning in to the Dragonflight Deep Dive.
You've heard a lot about the content and changes coming in Dragonflight, and we've got a lot more in store for you in the coming months.
Until then, we'll see you in Azeroth.
Okay, so there is one thing that I want to discuss profession-wise. I think this all looks cool, but I will say there's one thing that came to light after this, and it disappointed me big time, and that is archaeology, guys. Why are we not getting archaeology again. I feel like they're like removing it entirely. They're just kind of like weaning us off of it or something, because this is the second expansion in a row that we don't have it. And yeah, and I really like archaeology. It's not something I do all the time, but I like to be able to do it. Granted, I still have achievements I need from like, old areas for archaeology and stuff I'm still collecting through it. But it would have been nice to have, some areas, especially since we're going back. There's, there definitely could have been dig sites there. Okay, so next up we have the user interface. This one I really liked. Yeah, I like that this is going into place. So basically, the UI is gonna have some move elements. We do have add-ons that do that right now, but built into the system, we will now have improved accessibility, a new mini-map, bigger health bars. The art will be improved. It's going to remove a bunch of clutter and increase the visibility, and the ability to save, edit, copy, and name your UI settings will be there. And I personally think this is a really good one. I, at the moment, have an add-on that does that. I've been using it for all of my characters. It's an add-on where you can, make a different profile for like every character and their UI. And yeah, so to have that built in is really nice, because if I remember right, that add-on's kind of heavy on resources. So you could just easily import, export, and switch between. Settings can also remember the spec you're in, so that could automatically switch for players who like to use different layouts depending on their spec. That is a really good one added in, because when you're a healer, you kind of have a whole different screen happening. I don't feel it's so much for a tank, but going from tank or DPS to a healer is a whole different layout of what's on your screen. So I like that. I do like that art that is on there. Yeah, I really love it. It's, they're keeping things, similar to how the basic UI is. I myself have hated the add-ons for UI. I've used them, of course, but I have hated every single one. There's always at least a few things that I don't like that are part of them. And I am so excited for this change. I am gonna get rid of all my UI fucking crap. And so, that's something I've been wanting to do for a while. I personally, I don't like add-ons, but I have a lot because it helps you as a collector and stuff like that. Granted, I don't really have any that are combat add-ons. Like, well, I guess I have DBM and the damage meter, but anything extra above that, like, yeah, I'm very old-fashioned when it comes to playing WoW. Like, I use the old school PvP system when I'm in Battlegrounds, and for many years, a lot of you guys probably know this from my streams, but when I go into like a raid group or mythics, it's literally the default raid frames you see on my screen. Yeah, so I have the add-on for like my character, but then I disable everything else to have, the default stuff. So I love this. The mini-map looks pretty cool. I think I'd probably keep my mini-map add-on. I just like the prettiness of my mini-map. But all in all, this is meant for a new player coming into the game, and I think this is a welcoming situation. I do like that you can move the map. Of course, I have that with my add-on right now, but as a new player, I think you should be able to just move things freely if you want. And yeah, I've always hated things being, like me personally, I wouldn't have things like this. I know a lot of people keep their bars and their character plates really close to their character. I'm the opposite. I've always been okay with the map in the right corner for two reasons. One, 18 years of glancing to the top right. It's hard to break that habit. But the second is it's out of the way, right? Top right corner is nowhere near my character. And yeah, so that's kind of how I roll. I have nothing near my character. I like to be able to see my full character at all times. But, very cool. I'm very excited that they did this. Okay, so in an interview, Ian talked on player housing. So obviously popular topic among people. So he said player housing is a massive project that would likely take multiple expansions to realize at the level players demand and deserve. It would cost you a raid tier. Is kind of true. Garrisons in WoD were limited to just Alliance and Horde versions due to the amount of time and resources to make variants. They understand many players are passionate about it and their support within the development team. It's just a big project that's difficult to realize. So safe to say no player housing will be happening. I kind of saw that coming, and honestly, I know a lot of people want player housing, but I thought it was more guild housing that people wanted. Nonetheless, this wasn't like oh shit, I'm unsubbing now. I really don't care if they ever put player housing in the game, because I technically have a player housing game. My second, most hours game is Animal Crossing. And that is literally what that entire game is all about. There's really not much else you do in that game other than decorating your house, chatting with your villagers and decorating your islands. Like, it's completely a decorating game. And so I use that as my version of a player housing. With a WoW, I guess I feel like it would be very overwhelming to have a feature like that added in, because as a collector, it's already overwhelming to be, especially with all these reskins of mounts and stuff, constantly collecting those and the pets and the toys and the achievements. And yeah, so the potential is there, though. I will say, ever since WoD, I have been parked in my garrison ever since. I love my garrison, and I decorate it during holidays, because you can decorate it for like Christmas and Halloween and stuff like that. And yeah, if they would just went a little further with that, that's kind of player housing, right? You decorate, and there is a little bit of decorating you can do with the garrison. And yeah. I personally, I know a lot of people are like, don't add banks to it and shit like that. I don't see a point in player housing if there's no bank, and like, I like having all that in my garrison. I've always kind of found it funny that player housing is such a hugely wanted thing in WoW, because one of the biggest complaints of the garrison was that no one ever was in the city anymore. Everyone would stay in their garrison, and it was very antisocial. And yeah, and what do you think your house is going to be? You're going to be constantly decorating your house, and we don't know what's going to be there. If they did add, say, like the auction house and the bank and all that in there, then yeah, I could tell you straight from experience. I haven't gone, like, I don't go to regular auction houses. If I need to go to an auction house, I hearth to my garrison. It's one of the major reasons why I didn't buy the Bruto, because it's so convenient to just hearth to the garrison and use the auction house, and same with my bank. That is the bank I go to. That is the auction house I go to. And yeah. I've got the guild bank there. Like, I have no reason to ever be in a city unless there's, new expansion where the quest usually starts in the city, right? That's pretty much the only reason I go to the city. And then, of course, I have the black market there, too. Of course, it's read only, or look only, however you want to word it. But since BFA's Mechagon, that's not a problem anymore. You look at it, if there's something on there, then you grab your portable and do a bid, right? That's kind of how I've been doing it. So, yeah, I am never in the city. I see the same issue being a thing, if not worse, because the difference right now, and the reason people want player housing, is because they didn't really give us that with the WoD Garrison. It was, you could tell that the idea was there, but it just wasn't executed and continued to be a proper player housing. Plus, everyone's garrison looks the same if you're on that faction, right? So there was no uniqueness to it. So in conclusion, my thoughts on this is, I don't think it should be added to our WoW that we know today, but I think if they ever decided that they wanted to redo WoW, which I think they should at least consider, I think a selling feature to that would be, that game starting with player housing. I think that would be a great idea. And personally, what good is player housing if the rest of the game sucks, right? Like, I've said it many times before, the people that keep this game together are the collectors. A lot of people who play for actual content, they got no content, so I feel like it's a huge thing to do for a game that's already gone downhill and is 18 years old, runs on an old engine. Personally, if you're gonna put that kind of work into player housing, I think it's time for a WoW 2, and that's just what I personally think. I know lots would be happy if they just put it in, but I don't think player housing would fit well with the way WoW is going now, you'd have this great system, but you'd still, be shitting on the rest of the game. But all in all, I don't really give two shits if they put it in or not. To me, I pretty much live in my garrison, and I don't know if any player housing would change that. I guess it depends on how much can I decorate it and does it look good, if I don't like the scenery around it, I'm probably not gonna really give a shit. But like I have said before, if it came with a ton of inventory space, I'd be all for that. Okay, so rotating Mythic Plus dungeons. Dragonflight will launch with 8 dungeons. Season 1 Mythic Plus will be 4 Dragonflight and 4 previous expansion dungeons. Probably not Shadowlands due to being so recent. Nice. Season 2 would rotate to the other 4 Dragonflight dungeons and 4 other old dungeons. One thing I am gonna say here is I will be so disappointed if one of those old dungeons isn't Oculus. I feel like you're missing out, like, yeah, don't get me wrong, I wasn't a huge fan of that dungeon, and I actually hate every time it comes up in Time Walking, but we're literally in Dragonflight where you can train your own dragon. That is the dungeon of all dungeons that fits that theme, So I expect that to be one of the 4 old dungeons. And I will be very disappointed if it isn't. And then the second thing is I would love to see a newly updated dungeon, kind of similar to that one, but maybe more control of dragons, because it's Dragonflight, right? There has gotta be one dungeon that's, that's fully like that. Yeah. Okay, so dragon riding isn't intended to reduce the function or amount of regular mounts, and will still feature a lot of new mounts for players to collect. It doesn't fully replace the regular mounts. It's mostly for covering long distances or accessing hard to reach areas while just running around. That kind of, in a sense, reminds me of the Demon Hunter, where if you're struggling, you just glide or you grab like a goblin glider. Yeah, that's what that reminds me of. Upgrades earned over time will help you reach higher up places or quickly return to town. I just gotta say something on the topic of mounts. One big thing I would love to see them do for this next expansion is to stop making so many goddamn mounts. Like, don't get me wrong, I love being a mount collector and all, but there is no excitement in getting the same mount but a different color every time. Like, I'm tired of all these different skins. I want more unique mounts. And yeah, if they had like, I don't know, say it's an expansion where it's like 50 reskins versus 50 unique mounts. If you want to make a lot of mounts and they're all unique, then by all means go for it. Like, I'm all for that. But if I'm gonna collect 50 mounts that look identical except they've got different paint on them, like, no, I hate that shit. And don't get me wrong, I get it. PvP mounts, it's inevitable, they're gonna be reskins, we know that. And now Mythic Plus, I guess. I had hopes for Mythic Plus, because in BFA, they just threw a mount at the end, and I liked how it kind of felt like an AOTC for that expansion. But then Shadowlands came around, and they turned it into similar of the PvP season, where it was like a reskin, every season. So, yeah, but when you're out in the world, I think it should be different. But whatever. But when it comes to out in the world collecting, I just want some better and more unique mounts. Like, I know people are loving the current patch right now with Xerath. I don't know why. I think you're all crazy for loving Xerath Mortis. But one of my biggest things I don't like is the mount collection and the pet. I can tell you offhand right now which ones I like because there's so few of them. I can't remember how many in each category, but pet-wise, there's one pet I like in that whole collection. It's the rabbit. And mount-wise, there's one mount I like in that collection, and it's one of the spider mounts. And that is the problem, is like so many crappy type mounts and then so many reskins. I get that your player base is pretty much only collectors now, Blizzard, but get some uniqueness, because like even collectors are starting to leave your game. So motion sickness was one of the things discussed. I am kind of fortunate and I have never had motion sickness. But I totally get it. I have friends who have to have like a gravel every time they get in a car, so I totally get it. But yeah, so they are, they are addressing those. Which part would have given them motion sickness? Let's see. Dragon riding's really cool, but what's being looked at in terms of accessibility for... Oh, so maybe like the twirling and stuff? Yeah. Yeah, I feel very fortunate that I don't have to deal with that. But hopefully they do, address those good for the ones that do suffer with motion sickness. There also was talk about the legendaries, so there are no legendaries planned for Dragonflight that are similar to like Shadowlands and Legion. The customization's going to be found in the talent system instead. And one thing that I was really happy to hear, and I'm surprised that it's taken me this long to kind of throw it in the video. There's just so much to talk about. One thing that really made me happy was the lack of borrowed power. I like that they're removing that. I get that borrowed power is kind of a tough one. They like to, Ian had made mention of, borrowed power has always been in the picture because, your weapons you upgrade. I don't know if I really consider upgrading gear borrowed power, but I guess in a sense you could. But Dragonflight will have less borrowed power systems. Yeah, that wording is rough. Less means there's gonna be some. So, but whatever, I'll take it. Less borrowed power is better than tons. So there won't be any Dragonflight specific activated abilities used by players throughout the expansion. The talent tree's built to last and expand into future expansions. So I like that. That is a good one. They do make mention that it's not sustainable for more than a few expansions, and obviously that's a dev problem. I gotta say, like, if we don't have a wipe of this fucking game after a few expansions, like, I think that maybe that's when you do the wipe then. If that's gonna, not be sustainable. By then, you will have had people asking for a wipe of WoW for so long. So also mentions that this doesn't mean borrowed power will be gone forever. Even gear and tier sets are a form of power that is continually replaced or left behind as players move into a new tier or expansion, and they don't want to completely shut the door. This response here, absolutely. So the question is, so you envision adding more layers and more rows of talents in the future going forward? Absolutely. Could we sustain the system for 20 years? Probably not, but realistically, there's a horizon of sorts where we want to make the system work for 2 to 3 expansions, and beyond that is sort of a future us problem. Like, that sounds like they have no intention of wiping the game. Wow, 20 years? Like, holy shit. Like, yeah. Don't get me wrong, this game's never gonna die. If I learnt anything in Shadowlands, it's that Blizzard themselves can't even kill this game. I always rolled with that, if anyone can kill this game, it's Blizzard, but they actually tried. Maybe not on purpose, but like, and the game was still fucking rolling. So yeah, not even Blizzard can. I don't think anyone can kill this game. So I guess I totally see, them, estimating another 20 years because, like, I don't think the game's ever gonna completely die. It'll get worse and people will quit and whatever, but, like, yeah. If I've learned anything, it's that this game is unkillable. Okay, so just one little extra thing here. Otter Mounts. So there's been rumors that there may be an Otter Mount coming into Dragonflight. So you do see that this guy is actually on an otter. Let's get a better look of the otters. Okay. You know, he's weird looking, but I like him. The otter mount looks really cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not my type of mount, but I really like all the decoration going on with the otter mount. A very busy mount, I will give it that. It's a very busy mount. But I do like it. I like the white. White is always a great color for a mount.
Hello, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Josh.
I'm Jackie.
And I'm Gary.
And we're part of the teams that are building the first 2 zones that you'll encounter in the Dragon Isles, the Waking Shore and the Onaran Plains. The
Do
very
I
first
have
zone
subtitles
in
on?
Dragonflight you're going to come to is the Waking Shores. It's wild, untamed land. It's waking up around you too, and the elements are just going crazy.
The art team again has hit it out of the park.
You'll see like a lava mountain flowing in through the beach, giant proto-dragons swooping down, gobbling up members of your expedition.
We have such rife opportunities to show elementals rising up because of the crazy magic that's flying around.
The one of the things I love is just how you get to the Dragon Isles, right? So you're gonna get on your boat in Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and the first thing you do is sail between like the dragon ruin architectures. The boats come right alongside each other. You can jump from one boat to the other and just start causing havoc on the other faction's boat.
For those who love PvP, this is a great opportunity for war mode.
It's free for all out there. It's going to be great. But it's okay. There's an innkeeper on the beach so that if you're in that situation and you don't want to be in war mode anymore, you can just hop out right there.
The
Wow.
Reliquary and the Explorers League are working together.
The Horde and Alliance are sending an expedition together. It's not the military, it's not the soldiers. This is the scientists, the settlers exploring this new land. So it's a lot more optimistic tone.
One of my favorite things about the Waking Shores is the Red Dragonflight, led by Queen Alexstrasza, the Lifebinder. They have the mandate of nurturing and protecting all life, which means Horde and Alliance, Gorloks, trolls, everybody. So they take that duty seriously. When the Horde and the Alliance come to the Waking Shores, they want to be there to help guide the people through the new land and welcome them. But they're not the only one in the Waking Shores.
We have the ancestral home of the Black Dragonflight there too, which has fallen on tough times since Deathwing's descent. And so Rathian's coming over to the Isles with us, and he's gonna try and come to terms with the state of the Dragonflight, which is a few loyal Draconids and Dragon Spawn trying to hold their ground. What can the future of the Dragonflight be if it's just Rathian? Because it's not just the dragons that are coming back to the Dragon Isles, but also their longtime rival, the Jarden.
I love the Jardins so much. They're half giants that wield the power of magma. And when the Waking Shores and the Dragon Isles went to slumber, they also slumbered. They're back now, and they are ready to raise chaos.
Yeah, they're massive. They're riding giant lava mammoths, parading around, just stomping on your face.
And they were the enemies.
I want to see
of
those
the
lava
Dragonflight for so long.
mammoths.
They fought against the Red Dragonflight, hunted dragons down, and they're really taking this opportunity to rise up. As the Red Dragonflight have the mandate of nurturing life, they don't want to just stomp out the Jarden completely, but they want to make sure that they don't have the power to affect those around them negatively, to make sure they don't go on a rampage and destroy the ecosystem that has been created here.
And so those are awesome things in the Waking Shore, but Steph, there really is only one right answer for the best thing in Waking Shores, right?
What?
This is true.
Ducks.
Ducks.
Yes.
Finally have those webbed feet hooligans in our game. We cracked the technology.
They
We've
can
got them
figure
in.
it out. They
Yep.
can fly.
Oh, they
This
are
should be
so
fun.
cute.
It's gonna be awesome.
They're so
The Onaran
adorable.
Plains come right after the Waking Shores. It's so breathtaking at first glance.
The Onaran plains are big, wide open plains. And the player is going to be constricted a little bit, and then you see
I
this
just gotta
big
pause
contrast
for a
of-
sec. Like, on the topic of the ducks, why do you guys think it has taken 18 years for them to put a duck in the game? You know, that has been the true mystery of World of Warcraft for so long, is that there has not been a single duck in the game. like, what the fuck? Anyway, continuing.
of a zone. We don't always get that opportunity, that cinematic moment where the player can have a framed view when they see this area.
Come out and you got that postcard shot
love
of
that.
the plains. And then you see this giant fire proto-dragon breathing fire, and a herd of centaur like harpoon down the proto-dragon and crash into the ground. And the first thing you get to do is go help them kill the proto-dragon. Like, how cool is that?
Who is Onara?
Onara is the wild god of the wind. And she's appeared before as like this big spirit eagle. She's the one who guided the centaur to the Dragon Isles many, many years ago. She blessed them, took their caravan across, and then showed them the plains.
How fun at the beginning of this expansion was exploring the culture of the centaur.
The centaur are these mighty, awesome hunters that, back when they first came to the Dragon Isles, they fought the green dragons all day long. Eventually, they realized that we're strong, you're strong, maybe we should stop decimating each other's people. We'll make peace, we'll make an agreement. You guys hang out in the groves, and the centaur will hang out in the plains. But now, the dragons have been gone for 10,000 years. And the centaur have come so far since then. And they've been here, and they've been existing and developing their culture. They all came over as one clan led by the mighty Maruk and Tira, and they founded a new life here. So if you want to get across, you have to follow their rules and their traditions. You have to earn their trust. You are the first outsiders to come in generations upon generations. The centaur might rule the open plains, but the green dragons make their home in the groves. And those groves are absolutely gorgeous.
And how great a job it is that we have where I can take all of this beautiful artwork and build these beautiful fantasy groves, high fantasy. We want to do lots of things with an open plain, and we want to be creative with that. But we're restraining ourselves by letting the zone sing, letting the horizon tell the story. We certainly couldn't have done that in the vanilla WoW.
No, definitely not. The zones are so big, and you can see so far, especially in Onaran Plains. So we talked to the engineers, and we actually increased that distance.
It spurs you on to want to adventure and look through the zone and explore everything.
The interesting thing for me is we have all these conflicts with the Dragonflights. There's missing dragons, there's battles, there's so much crazy stuff happening, but that's not really all we're doing. There's so much extra fun activities for people to do. And the greatest thing is that you need to figure out exactly what's going on and help solve all the problems that are just sprouting up everywhere.
We're just really excited to tell a story that's grounded in Azeroth and exploration. There's so much more to talk about. But now, we're gonna have some folks talking about the next two zones that players are gonna experience in the Dragon Isles.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kate.
I'm Christy.
I'm Kate.
I'm Sean.
Two
We're going to talk
Kates.
today about Valdrassus and the Azure Span. So Azure Span is going to be the third zone that players adventure through, and it's one of our biggest zones that we've done in the Dragonflight, maybe even to date.
We knew it was going to be like the largest visual elevation change, and it really started with this great concept art. When we first were taking a look at the design, we kept coming back to one of our favorite Wrath zones, which was Grizzly Hills. And we really wanted to take that, but wowify it more. And I don't know if you've ever been up to the Bay Area, but in the morning, that coastal fog comes in and dips down into the redwoods and that sun shines through. That's really what we wanted to encapsulate with this forest. And not only we have redwoods, but we've got all different types of trees. Eventually, it'll break open into this wide open tundra that's just golden and red, and you'll reach up to another level of elevation where you get to see the snow. The majority of the zone is covered in snow and ice. We have giant frozen waterfalls, ice rivers as far as the eye can see. And Sean, I know in the forest, we can expect our first creatures.
We have a small group that lives there called the Gnolls. These gnolls are all throughout the forest and Azure Span. They've made this their home. Some gnolls with strange magic that we're going to find out what exactly that's
That
about.
looks
Snow
cool.
gnolls, or as I call them, the snolls, up in the winter area, and then some regular gnolls that are just going to be around the forest area. So then we go into the big open tundra where we meet our second group, the Tuskar.
It's going to be really neat.
Oh, I
to
love
explore
the
their culture a lot.
Tuskar.
And those kids are adorable. I absolutely love the Tuskar. Honestly, all my downtime's probably just me hanging out with the Tuskar.
So it's been a little while since we've seen them. We remember the Tuskar from Wrath of the Lich King. They're also getting a nice, cool up-res for their models, along with expanding their culture. So there are going to be male Tuskar, female Tuskar, Tuskar kids.
Aw.
So we're going to fight alongside them, which includes
That's cute.
help from a certain group of dragons, the blue dragons. We're going to follow the story of Kalagos,
Yeah.
our blue dragon buddy from the Kirin Tour, and he's going to be adventuring into Sindragos's archives. It's a giant zone. There's a lot of surprises. When we're done there, we head over to Aldraz's.
Aldraz's. It's really incredible because you will be going through some of the previous zones and seeing a lot of ruins for the dragon buildings. But when you get to Thaldrazis, everything is perfectly intact. It's beautiful. It's pristine. It is the seat of power for all 5 Dragonflights. And
Kinda got a Suramar look
It feels
to
that
it.
way with the huge vertical mountains. We've got these great cave systems where you may end up finding little dragon hordes.
My favorite Dragonflight right now is the Bronze. They've got a really cool area in Thaldrazis, and their magic is time. There's so many cool story hooks that we could dig into there. There's so many cool gameplay options. And we have a little bit of an adventure for players. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I can't wait. We really wanted it to feel like their old stomping grounds. One of the really cool features is going to be the main city and player hub for this expansion, Valdrakken. It is a culmination of all of the dragon's efforts to put together what a city would look like. So we ended
Ooh,
up
I'm
having
getting
a
Silver
bunch
Moon
of
vibes
really
from
fun
that one.
small vignettes where you can see that the blue Dragonflight is hosting a public library, and the red and green Dragonflights both have their own separate gardens. We'll also have some convenient services for players, including an auction house in the city, which will be really nice if you're looking for more exotic wares. The thing that really sold me on Thaldrazis was the initial concept art we got of Tierhold.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, that
And
looks
this
nice.
is a 10,000-year-old Titan technological marvel. Tierhold has these awesome aqueducts that actually come out from the structure all the way to the city across the valley. And in the cinematic, there's just this amazing shot where you see Alexstrasza swoop under one of them, and there's splashes of water cresting across her wings. So when players are flying around themselves, they get to have their Alexstrasza moment. What an incredible place.
Well,
and
I'm gonna
filled
be
with
the
so
red
much
dragon,
history.
so I'll definitely have my
Tierhold was built by
Alexstrasza
Tyr. He was
moment.
a Titan Keeper back in the day who helped the Aspects fight Galakrond. And when they settled on the Dragon Isles, he built this facility. And even though Tyr's gone, the dragons have held him in reverence. But that was 10,000 years ago, and they've let the Titans maintain the place. An incredible amount of history has happened since then. Flights have been nearly wiped out. There have been invasions, betrayals. Aspects have died. And these are the kind of things that leave marks on a society. So now they're all back here, and they're all here together.
As we were designing the zone
Oh,
and
they look
the city
so
itself,
pretty
we're trying
all
to figure out, how
together.
do we tell those stories at the same time as making sure that this
All
is a
the
really
dragons.
convenient place for players to go and go shopping, as they tend to do. So much adventuring happening on the Dragon Isles.
It's so cool.
As a player, you probably don't have your own dragon wings. You are going to learn the art of dragon riding.
It's so vertical, and I'm just excited to dive off the tops of towers and swoop under things.
It's actually
I just want
want
to twirl.
to learn about next.
Yeah, we've already gone over that, or it'll be edited later on in the video. I did read that there is 5 zones, so something is missing here. Unless they're counting the main hub to be in its own zone. I don't know. Let me see. Let's go back here, and we'll see. Waking Shores and Onaran Plains. So that was our first video of the 2 zones. And then Azirspan and Thaldrazis, we just watched that one. Forbidden Reach. So Forbidden Reach is the one that we haven't seen. Okay. So this explains it right here. It says that Forbidden Reach is the final new zone. It's not part of the main story. It is the new Dracthyr starting area. Okay. They never really showed us that. They showed us some of the Dracthyr stuff, but we didn't really see truly what the new zone looked like. So I'm sure that's upcoming at some point.
You buy the honor gear and you can get, up to a certain point. Let's just call it like 113.
Sure, yeah, just random level.
And then you buy conquest gear, and that would be like 126. So and it would always be that high PvP item level.
Right.
And it would be, something probably around like heroic, or it would go up to like heroic and for honor gear and like Conquest would go up to like Mythic. And
Okay.
so, people might be able to bring Mythic gear in because, they've done their content and it's still pretty good in PvP.
Yeah.
But, we've done things with like trinket set bonuses, PvP set bonuses, that to try and discourage a lot of the items that come from raids that are problematic, particularly trinkets.
Yeah.
And then other cantrip items. I'm not really bothered, to be honest with you, if like some cantrip item sneaks into PvP. Like, I think it's okay for you to go out and you're a really intense player of this game and you want to go find 1 or 2 items from a raid or from a Mythic Plus and bring them into PvP and they're good. I think that's okay. I think it's a world game.
Yep.
It's RPG PvP. Go out, get those things, make yourself better. I think when we're talking about like go get everything from somewhere that's not PvP, that's a big problem. And actually even get the majority of your stuff from not PvP.
Right. I mean, what you just described probably is a situation where, like, if people only want to do PvP, that's the only thing that they log into and acquire their gear from, a full set of PvP gear is going to be very competitive.
Yes.
Even if you're like, okay, there's this one trinket from this one boss that if you get it at Mythic eye level is kind of cool. Like, because I remember that was, like, Kata had, like, legendary items, and like some of the trinkets in Kata were really cool, and I mean that's been a thing, throughout the course of the game. But yeah, there have been times where it was like a little heavier to get a lot of really good stuff from PvE, and it sounds like what you're describing right now is as we move forward, it might be a situation where if you want to only do PvP.
I'm just gonna pause it. I just want to say I think they've done a good job over the years kind of making this system better, because I do remember back in the day, like, you pretty much couldn't PvP as a PvE player. Like, you'd get your ass whooped, Now they've definitely made the systems better that like a PvEer can go into things, and I like that because I am the type of player that likes to do everything, and I don't really have time to go get like every best PvP piece of gear, right? Because I don't only PvP. And yeah, so I like that they keep adding like better ways that PvE players can enter PvP, by using like raid gear and stuff like that. I would love to see like a graph of how many PvEers enter PvP and then how many PvPers are only PvP. I would love to see those numbers. Yeah.
You're going to be like very competitively geared, and even if you only do PvP to cap your character, you might get a little bit less conquest, but the actual eye level that you have on your gear is going to be the same as somebody who's playing at like Gladiator rank 1 level.
Right. Yep.
Gotcha.
You put it right. The way you put it is, if somebody wants to just be doing PvP, they're going to get an excellent set of gear for PvP. Arguably the best.
Yeah.
And that's the key. I feel like if we're talking arguably, where somebody is like, yeah, that's good, but this, one item has, benefits. Okay, okay,
Right.
maybe that's a choice that you make, and I think that's okay. But it's when it doesn't feel like that's a choice that I think is a problem. So
yeah,
the only thing I want to clarify is there may be a question of like, well, can you just do that in Season 4 and why wait? I think if you can go to a vendor and just spend honor gear and get heroic item level, like that's not something we can just let you run around in war mode with. Like and same with Conquest, like now you have gear and you're just running out in the outside world. And so that's why that change of PvP item level currently works in the outside world.
Yeah.
And our plan is for it to not.
Right.
And then upgrades are still going to exist. So if you're a gladiator level player, you can upgrade your gear with honor and it will upgrade your PvE item level.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I mean, because being able to spend a lot of time in the game and progress in whatever you like the most, and then be able to take a portion of that power into other elements of the game does feel pretty good, instead of being like, wow, I mean, like I've got the best PvP gear in the game, but I'm like Mythic 0 eye level to go into do Mythic. That's kind of weird, but if you can take some of the strength that you've got. Yeah.
You should be able to. I mean, if you're a gladiator level player, you're an elite, player, you should be able to take some of that gear into the raids.
And do okay. Like maybe the stats won't be perfect and the eye level won't be as high, but you can still like,
like I know
contribute.
the badge trinket is really good for a lot of specs with like 1 minute cooldowns.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
Yeah.
so they go out to get that, and it's cool that they want to be a 2400 rated player or whatever to bring that up as max item level, bring it to the raids. I think that's
Yeah.
a good situation.
Yeah, because usually it feels like people get pulled into PvE to get like the strong stuff, and I guess that could move us a little bit into the next thing where like tier sets right now are like a big deal. The creation catalyst just got put in, so you're able to like kind of get your tier set if you've been unlucky or if you're like late to the game or whatever. You mentioned that PvP set bonuses are one of those things that you guys have tried in the past to sort of really make PvP gear more valuable than PvE gear for PvP. Is that the kind of thing that might return, that we're seeing tier sets in PvE? Would there be any kind of bonus for PvP gear as well?
Well, the trinket set bonus will definitely stick around,
Okay.
and we're really happy with the implementation we have now, where it gives a fixed amount of primary stat and stamina, because that really just lets us tune the game holistically in terms of damage and sustain. But PvP set bonuses we'll have to think a bit about. One of the challenges of PvP set bonuses is it's not great to change them. From tier season
People get used to having like
Yes.
a more crit on your mortal strike after you charge, something like that, right? They kind of factor it into their gameplay a bit.
And it's like if we don't come up with a better one, or like could be messing with the balance a lot in that respect.
Right.
So I'm a little wary of that. But then again, if we're doing set bonuses elsewhere, we have to come up with ones that are competitive. So I don't have anything definitive to say on that right now, except that we know class sets and set bonuses are going to exist, and so we just kind of have to discuss is the current situation, is it tenable? Like, can it work where we're creating one universal set bonus that is throughout the game?
Right, yeah.
Or do we have to go back to a world with separate PvE and PvP set bonuses? There's a certain advantage to the PvP set bonuses where
sometimes they're just cool. It's like
they're cool, and they make the PvP gear special in a special way. But it's also so often the case that a PvE set bonus will also be very good.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could even have a situation where it's like, I mean, I don't want to be making specific suggestions, I guess it's not what this is about, but like, you could eventually, like, if you got your 4-piece PvP gear, you could get like another honor talent selection option. And then that's that's everybody can do that. It kind of is class specific, but it's not necessarily like you guys are deciding what the set bonus is. Something like that could be kind of cool.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, that's interesting. I just think I want to make sure that everybody, that we create something cool for people, and that is a cool idea.
For sure. So how are we looking for like cross faction stuff for PvP? How does that affect PvP? That's coming in 9.2.5, right?
Yes, our plan is to support cross faction play in rated PvP content, any pre-made PvP content. So if you want to get into an arena with Horde and Alliance players, that's the plan. If you want to do it with RBGs, that's the plan. Basically, you're electing into that, and so it's cool. Random battlegrounds, skirmishes. Our plan is still to keep that faction divide for the time being. But when we think about solo shuffle, especially rated, I think that's something down the line we definitely want to combine. I don't think there's anything more fantasy forward than the idea of you are just thrown in the arena.
Yeah, you're literally just a gladiator. You're just an arena mercenary. There's no allegiance. It's just kill in the arena. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that makes total sense. We've always thought that made a lot of sense.
That's cool.
So
yeah.
I think that'll be really great for the game. I've long held that I think the faction imbalance is more due to the social challenges that the teams have, and so. It'll be great to see what people go out and do with those choices.
So once that happens, I would imagine there's not going to be separate ladders for Alliance and Horde. It'll be one ladder probably?
Not right out the gate.
Okay.
I think there is value in those separate rewards being there for trying to keep people available on both sides. And I right out the gate don't want to step back from that, because if we feel like we need it, it would be bad to put it back on. So for the time being, we're going to
fair enough.
Those rewards separate, and just to try and make sure that we can maintain some parity on the two sides. But if we feel like down the road it's not necessary, then we can do away with it.
Okay, cool. Are there the new arenas are bumping? Are we going to see new battlegrounds in the works too?
Nothing to announce at launch of 10, unfortunately. But yes, that is something we want to continue to work towards.
I feel like with BFA, for whatever reason, that was like the most world of PvP that we had, because we had like a variety of weekly quests to do and had specific things for specific rewards in different places, and that ended up feeling like a blast. So I think like quests are usually like a fairly good incentive to just get out there and scrap. It was really fun to group with people from the stream or friends or whatever, and just like have like your skirmishes, which is I think that's probably like one of the ways that World PvP feels the best, is like the large scale stuff is epic, but sometimes that small scale stuff where like really funny things happen, like somebody jumps off a cliff to escape and you glide after him and you have like a glider fight. That's pretty cool too. Speaking of glider fights, this is kind of a meme question, but I actually am very curious. How does Dragonflight play into World PvP? Is that going to be something that we're going to be like seeing, like somebody's going to be like dive bombing in on somebody from the heights? I mean, that's kind
right.
of
I was thinking that
flying
same
has usually
thing.
to me been like a man, like this is a massive World PvP like deterrent actually. But
Yeah,
now
great
dragon
question.
flying is so cool. Like,
Yeah, I don't know that we have it all figured out, but I think there, are some great opportunities there for dragon riding. People swooping down on you, a pack of like 5 dragons coming down.
because that happens anyway. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be happening a whole lot earlier.
That will
in the
totally
season, right?
happen.
Because people are going to be on these dragons
Yeah.
almost right from the get-go.
Right,
So,
there's no like do this quest line that unlocks after a while, and then it's like you get your World PvP going, and then flying comes, and you're like, oh, okay, now things are gonna be a little different. Yeah.
different, yeah. So I think it'll be, it is increased locomotion. It's going to be, pretty wild to see what people do and the assaults that they go. But right now, there's nothing like that's just another example. Like World PvP, it's like you just want to set up the environment for it to happen and then get out of the way.
Yeah, just let it. Yeah, I think that's probably like the right way to do it. Make like a fun environment for PvP. Give just a little incentive, and then just let people just goof around and like, because that's a fun place to like. If arena is going to be one of those places where the gear's not necessarily normalized at this point, but the way that we've been talking about it is it's like it has a fairly static item level. Everybody's kind of on the same page. Go nuts. With World PvP, you get to use all your wacky PvE trinkets and all your wacky like toys and stuff, and that's like a fun place for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Equip 300 corruption and try to one-shot people with that. Like.
Okay, guys, so that is basically all I have for this video. My bad if it's a little lengthy. There's a lot in here, and it's my opinions. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what your thoughts were. Overall, even although I went in skeptical, mainly due to Cataclysm, my overall thoughts is there's definitely some stuff I don't like. The customizations could definitely use some work, but for things I am really excited for, talent tree, number 1. Talent tree was probably the thing I'm the most hyped for. Ducks. I am so hyped for getting some ducks in the game. Can't wait for that. The UI, I think that's like, that one's more of a better one for new players, but it's good for us old players too. I would like to just trash my UI add-on. And the new zones, I am super excited for. The crafting, I'm half happy and half kind of, we'll see where it goes. Yeah, I'm not totally sure what I think of the crafting yet. It's a mixed feeling there. Have a good one, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.